Hi, Paul Sackis, Good News Planet. I'm speaking to Chris and Holly Santillo. Hi, Chris and Holly Santillo. How are you two?
We're doing wonderfully.
Feeling
Thank you.
great. Happy to be here.
Thank you for agreeing to speak to me because our mutual friends showed me what you're doing. Resilience parenting, okay? So I'm Grandpa Paul. Raising resilient children in an era of detachment and dependence. Okay. Well, I don't think my daughter's seen my grandkids. They're in the room. They're playing with the games, or they're on the video machine, or they got this guy. They actually, my grandkids, they were born with this in their hands. I don't know how it got there. All right. So tell us about the book that you've written and why you wrote it.
Well, first of all, I want you to know that I have no opinions about technology.
We do. We just don't say them out loud.
I'm so glad you brought it up.
It is what it is.
It's a toxic topic, I think, these days. We don't condemn anyone's parenting. We're all doing our very best, I think, as best we can.
Yeah, all righty. That's a good start. Since I'm into the peace movement and world peace, I'm into the fact that I believe, because of the amount of people that have this little guy, that we can create and show the world that we have a peaceful world and that we can all love and be kind to each other as a result of a good messages like the heart in this thing. So, but now you want to help some people. Who do you want to help? The parents or the kids, or a combination deal?
Well, it's kind of both. I like the way you put that.
Yeah,
it's a combination deal. So the idea of resilience parenting is finding a way to make sure that as you're raising your children, that you're raising children who are both independent but connected. Because you mentioned the kids often they're playing their video games or they're running around town by themselves and whatnot. And raising children who can be independent of their parents, but also have a good network of community, both in their larger community as well as their friend network, as well as their family, and so that they can move powerfully through their own lives and do the things that they want to do with their lives.
So that's the result. But the process along the way, we hope, is much more enjoyable, using the idea of being teachers when you're parents rather than just people who lay down the law, dictators.
Not that doesn't come up once in a while,
Are you two parents? Are you two parents?
And actually, I shouldn't have used the word dictators, because the kids know. You can ask them what kind of government they live in, and it's not a democracy. It is a benevolent dictatorship.
Yeah, we have 3 young boys, ages 8, 10, and 11. They're currently on the rooftop patio of our hotel here, and they are reading books. And they've been instructed to leave us alone because we're busy right now. And I think they'll probably do a pretty good job of that.
All right. Okay.
Their day earlier today was going to see if we could procure a COVID test and get some school supplies in the Dominican Republic. Why not? That was our day.
So are they, because school's back in session here, I don't know do you have a home? You're in the Dominican Republic. And I thought when we started speaking, you said you were sort of like traveling around. Is that so?
We're on a sabbatical. So we yanked the kids out of school, and we have been traveling around the world for coming up on 2 years now. And we've been to, I think this is country number 15, if my count is right. And obviously last year was a little bit slower than we would have liked, as I think everybody's 2020 was a little slower than they would have liked. But we have some ground to catch up, which hopefully later this summer and fall and winter we can catch up on.
So are you, just if you don't mind me, because we're doing this in January something, beginning of this year, during the COVID year. So are you stay put here now for a bit? What's your, if you don't mind me asking?
We found an interesting situation. We found an international school that requires a test to participate, and everybody there will be tested, and we'll have a little tight-knit community for 6 weeks. And seemed like a good opportunity for the kids to get some education and in something of a little bubble.
They miss being with other kids, as I'm sure many kids do. It looked like a way for us to blend the travel goal along with speaking Spanish. We've been working on that really hard this year, being with other people, etc.
All right. Well, it sounds like a great experience for you youngsters. So you're on a sabbatical from where?
So in normal life, I teach martial arts. We have 5 martial arts studios in the greater DC area, Washington, DC area. And we've been doing that for 20 something years. And I decided it was time to see my family a little bit more for a little while. And so that's coasting out in the background. We still have 5 schools with 5 amazing instructors running them.
The martial arts is where the idea of the book came from. We saw a lot of kids really transform, and honestly, adults too. But kids, it's fun. They grow physically while they're also transforming on the inside. So it feels like you get a 2 for 1.
But we also noticed that not everybody's interested in incorporating martial arts into their life. But 90% of the lessons that regarding a child's upbringing that you capture from the martial arts don't actually require the martial arts environment in order to impart. So we took all of those lessons that the martial art teaches, and I think it's pretty well accepted, the benefits of martial arts offer to children, and put them in a book that doesn't require any punching or kicking.
Okay.
Or screaming.
If you want to punch the book, don't tell us.
Well, I happen to, I'm a believer in martial arts, and I am a fanatical Karate Kid 1 and 2
yes.
watcher.
I'm glad you said 1 and 2, because we all know it all kind of tapered off with number 3.
And I put some of the Karate Kid in a movie that I created called Woodstock Forever, Peace, Love, and Hope, because I did the 20th anniversary of Woodstock. So, and the reason I did that was because first of all, my daughter was a gymnast. And actually my niece's kids are all down there in that DC area, and they're all doing martial arts, maybe in your school. But in any case, what I loved about it, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm supposed to be actually doing a Bruce Lee special soon. I got a group of people working on that right now. They're working on it. It's not me, but serious people. And actually, what's her name? Lucia, my friend Lucia Kaiser, a well-known woman, was the president of Bruce Lee's company in Hong Kong, I believe, for many years. In any case, back to our story, but everybody knows Lucia on my broadcast and blah, blah, blah. But back to your scenario. What I wanted to say is the little I know, because I don't do it, I've been told I should do it because in essence, I'm a very big chicken. I've learned how to run very fast instead of an involvement physical, because I'm a peacenik, and I don't want to do anything physical because if somebody might get hurt, that might be me. And so I'm going to shut up now. So my point is, what is this book about?
Well, I'll tell you about the book. I promise I will. But I want to speak to what you just said, because I'm a pacifist. And I was sitting down, we were hosting a small banquet after one of our tournaments. This was probably 10, 12 years ago, something like that. And one of our judges, one of our students had brought his significant other, and just by random assignment, she ended up being sat next to me. And she looked really uncomfortable and really nervous. And I turned to her, I said, are you okay? Like, are you uncomfortable for some reason? She said, it's just a weird environment for me because I'm a pacifist. And I said, oh, I'm so glad to hear that, because I'm a pacifist too. And she found that very off-putting. But you're absolutely right. The fear as a person trains in the martial arts, and we're supposed to be talking about the book, but I talk about the martial arts a lot. Well, we'll get there. Is that you transition from wanting to avoid physical confrontations because you're afraid you'll get hurt, to wanting to avoid physical confrontations because you're afraid someone else will get hurt. And so I'm going 0 for 0 on physical confrontations, and I plan on running out my entire life that way if I can pull it off.
And I was going to answer entirely differently. That with the martial arts, you confront yourself physically every time you train and prepare yourself for just everyday battle of life and staying healthy. That the greatest foe is whatever might make you sick or mentally deficient, downtrodden in any which way you might describe that.
He wants us to talk about the book.
Okay, the book.
So the book is built around the 3 pillars. And the pillars are how we live our lives.
You said the book. I was going to hit you with the book when I felt it was right. Hey, listen, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Seriously. Can you tell me something about the book?
Okay, so the book is called Resilience Parenting, and it's all about learning how to incorporate the lessons of integrity, service, and learning into your children's lives. And those 3 pillars, which we feel, and I think we can get a lot of support for this, really are the keys to living a functional and fulfilling life. And if we do that correctly, and we do it through the methodology laid out in the book, then we raise children who are both independent and connected, And that results in being resilient. And resilient we define as having the strength to overcome obstacles when you encounter them, the ability to adapt when the obstacles are too great to simply meet head on, and the ability to recover when you inevitably get knocked on your derriere.
All right. What were those three again? One more time.
So learning, integrity, and service.
Okay, so let's start with learning. The Monarch Review, short notes about learning. Learning what? What do you got to learn? Or how can you help yourself by learning? And you learn from others, you learn from yourself. What's learning mean? And how does it relate, in essence, to some of the thoughts that in greater depth you speak about in your book, I'm sure?
So your goal is to help raise children who believe that, one, well, I guess overall, they can learn. That anything that they don't know already, they can find the answer to. And not only that, that they love learning.
Yeah, even more so, and perhaps even more ephemeral and hard to get your hands on is the helping them to love and appreciate learning. It's that line, like, I don't want you to do the dishes, I want you to want to do the dishes. I love that line. I love that line. I didn't even see the movie. It was in the preview of some movie that I never saw. But I don't want you to do the dishes. I want you to want to do the dishes. And it's the same thing with raising children, is that we want to make sure that our children go off into the world, not just being able to learn, but being excited by learning, because life changes, right? The world that we're encountering is different every single day. There's no possibility that age 18, we launch our children into the world and they know everything that they're going to know in their lives. That's not the way the world works. So we need to make sure they're capable of learning, but again, even more so that they're looking for those opportunities and they're meeting them head on.
Okay.
I was thinking of it in terms of resilience, that we're very direct with our kids and in explaining what resilience is and how to get it. And learning is an obvious part of it. You know, if, in order to be able to solve problems that come at you, you want to take the knowledge that you already have. In order to be able to adapt, you might need to learn something new. I mean, it's very simple. And in order to do that, the idea of teaching learning in our book is about approaching any situation with curiosity and humility.
And then as far as who you learn from, because you touched on that, and I think that's a really good insight, obviously from yourself is part of that, but we're looking for classics and mentors. So we're looking for teachers of various kinds. And so, you know, you might learn football from your football coach, and you'll learn music from your music instructor, and history from your history teacher, and a lot of things, hopefully, from your parents. And then obviously the classics. There's a lot of things, there are a lot of great resources available in books, they call them. They're these things, and you open them and they have pages and all these different words on them. Huge resources. They've been around for a long time, but I think I'm optimistic they'll stick around, and those have a lot of resources that they can learn from as well. We can all learn from.
I love it. My mother, the librarian, would be very proud of you right now.
Oh my gosh, I have a love affair with librarians. I want to meet your mom if it's not too late. Paul.
My mother gave me the book when she was a librarian, actually at Temple Emmanuel here in New York City, maybe one of the largest temples or renowned temples here in the world. And she gave me a Reverend Norman Vincent Peale's book, The Power of Positive Thinking.
Love that book.
That book, for me, because I was a silly little kid, I didn't read books. I was a boob tuber, you know. I was easy. Yeah, give me television, Three Stooges, Popeye, Superman, wrestling. I was a happy guy. But, you know, so I read the cover, though. The cover, you know, just because the cover is so powerful, I said, this cover, the power of, and I said to myself, what do you mean? You can think negatively? But how could you think negatively? You can only think, you know, that it's going to be good. I'm a very innocent Tarrytown, little small town guy, and that always thought that everybody was there to help. And I still do, except for when somebody tells me, you know, they might not be trying to help you with this. I say,
well, it's funny that you say that. You know, I believe strongly in the power of that book. I have it, I'll confess, it's an audiobook, but I think I've been through it 3 times. And wonderful book and a lot of other follow-ons. But I think you're absolutely right. Many people, it sounds like yourself included, and Holly for one, encounter the world with this very positive outlook. I, on the other hand, well, let's just say I read the book.
Gotcha. So
again, what you seem to have been born with.
So let's do this. You're both a pleasure to speak with, and so let's make this like the first of we can talk again if that's okay with you. Because I can see we could be talking for hours here, and so with regard to the book, just tell me, how's the book structured? Again, on these three thoughts, or is that anything else?
Yeah, I've got it. It's 3 sections, and I hope you'll correct me if I'm wrong. But one is just advocating, number one, to parent with intention, to come up with your game plan for parenting. And the next section is to suggest that a great game plan is the 3 pillars. And we discuss how that specifically will lead to resilience. And finally, how to put that into play. We give a lot of tips about what it means to be a parent who works as a teacher, to inspire your child rather than require.
Right on. Okay. When my daughter was born, I thought she was a big girl right up front, and I treated her like a real person. Which, there used to be a show. I'll just throw 2 more cents of my, since I'm an older little guy. There used to be a show by Art Linkletter, and Art Linkletter was very famous on television. Okay, and Art Linkletter, you might remember the name, but it was before my time. Art Linkletter was very popular. Kids Are People Too was the name of the show. And I think if you treat your kids as people too, that they have just as much right as you. That 18 number is like BS. And the 21 is also another stupid numbers that we somehow, don't take a drink before, that way you go like pass out, or whatever these things are. Don't smoke a joint, whatever. All these things in life that actually end up causing a lot of aggravation because soon as some kid, even at 10, 15, 20 years old, can't have that freedom to be a people, what do they do?
I ran across this line recently, and I feel terrible that I don't remember who said it, so I can't attribute it properly. But what he said was, it is unreasonable to expect 18-year-olds to be responsible for themselves and live powerfully in the world when 6 months earlier they had to raise their hand to go to the bathroom.
That's good. Resilience, parenting, raising resilient children on top of the roof in the Dominican Republic in an era of detachment and dependence. Obviously, she's you two are very comfortable. You see your kids, they can be there and responsible and respectful because you've put a lot of love. Love is the answer. Love takes on the strength of gravity. Love is the king. Last question then. I'm going to ask you, because I asked a lot of people, what does peace mean to them? And what is love? What is hope? What is good news? I'm going to ask you guys, what does love mean to you guys? Say your name and what does love mean to you?
So my name's Chris Santillo. And we talked briefly about the idea of connection. And we talked about no, I'm going to go with a new answer, the simpler answer. Love is wanting what's best for someone else, regardless of what that means for you. Love is wanting someone else or something else or some entity or some group to grow and improve and have the best possible experience, whether that is what's best for you or not. And that's love.
Holly? I
think for me, I'm Holly Santillo. And love for me is a feeling of openness and acceptance, one in which I almost feel like I lose the boundary of my own skin and become part of everything around me.
I love it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for sharing good news with us. And the websites are?
You can find the book at www.resilienceparenting.info. And then our travel blog, as we travel around the world at our new modified pace, is www.5backpacks.family.
All righty, fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul. It's been a pleasure.
Bye, everybody.